welcome to the webinar, Industry 4.0, is Mexico up to the challenge? The first of Mexico's Manufacturing Supply Chain Summit webinars. My name is Ramiro Villeda. I am the Managing Director of Villeda Consulting, and I will be moderating this panel. The webinar will be broken into two sections. In the first part, my colleagues, the panelists and myself, will explain how our companies are approaching Industry 4.0. In the second part, each panelist will be asked 3 questions related to their area of expertise. Also, during the seminar or during the webinar, you are free to ask questions using the Q&A feature of Zoom. Please do so as we move along the webinar. We will try to answer those questions in the second section of this webinar. Let me start with my presentation. Here you have a very common model of Industry 4.0. It's a simplified model, and the first slide shows a chronological development, which starts in the early 70s with the introduction of PLCs, and then in the late 70s, SCADAs, which are supervisory control and data acquisition systems. Later, in the early 90s, we had the introduction of manufacturing execution systems. And finally, in the 90s, the top layer is the introduction of ERPs, Enterprise Resource Planning Systems. However, ERPs have its origins in the MRP logic developed in the 70s and MRP2 systems in the 80s. So here you have how we have progressed in the technological arena to connect our machinery from at the bottom to the top to the ERP. The next slide shows you that our approach in the West has not followed the chronological approach. What I mean here is that if you analyze the way Korea, Germany, Sweden have approached Industry 4.0, it's very different to our approach. What we have done mostly is we have the machinery layer, which was managed by MRPs and then MRP2s and then ERPs. And we have used PLCs in an ad hoc mode, which means that they have not been an overall strategy to implement PLCs. And the same has happened with the SCADAs and MES. Usually, we have found that companies in the automotive sector are asked or are forced by the assembly companies, by the top automotive companies, to introduce manufacturing execution systems to control its production and information flow. Okay, so here the point is that we have a gap right here on the left with the gray areas. In our approach, our approach has been what I call a strategic top-down approach. We have found that many companies, in many companies, the variability in our world, or the VUCA world, which stands for a world with a lot of variability, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguousness, plus also the fact that the logic that ERP uses was developed in the 60s, and it has several particularities which makes it not very effective today. Let me just mention one of them. ERP systems use forecast to release purchase orders and manufacturing orders. And as all of you know, forecasts are not very exact. And in this COVID world, forecasts are less exact or less reliable. So any system that starts planning using a number that will change introduces a lot of noise into the production system. So we have found several deficiencies created by this VUCA world and the ERP logic. Let me just mention two of them. The first is a binomial distribution of inventory. What does it mean? It means that in many companies, they have way too much inventory of part numbers that they do not need. And on the other hand, of the part numbers that they do need, they don't have enough or they don't have any at all. Another problem that we have seen in many companies is that despite the fact that they use ERP systems, it's amazing the use of Excel spreadsheets to supplement the ERP system. So here my point is that Industry 4.0 offers huge opportunities from the second to the fifth layer. My colleagues will touch upon the third and fourth layers. I just want to emphasize that our company has focused at the top. Our point is this: if the top is the brain of the, okay, to make an analogy with the human body, if the top, if their ERP is the brain of the system, the brain of the body, and that brain is not sending the right signals to the body, it's much more difficult to introduce digital technologies when the brain is sending either late signals or mixed or corrupted signals. So our approach has been to work with companies to minimize or mitigate the problems created by the ERP systems. And one of the solutions that we are implementing is do not use forecasts to release purchase orders or manufacturing orders. There is a methodology known as Driven Mrp, which uses firm orders as the main driver of the ERP systems. We have been working with this solution for the last little bit more over 2 years, and we are seeing extremely successful, extremely exciting results. Okay, with this introduction, let me ask my colleague, Dr. Mo Awali, to share with us his experience. Mo?
Thank you, Dr. Varela. I appreciate the introduction. Let me share my screen. I greatly appreciate your introduction and speaking about VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. I think this is unfortunately where the world is today, but there is surely light at the end of the tunnel, and Industry 4.0 can be the light. I've been in the industry for about 25 years, and I come from manufacturing. I worked in automotive, I worked at Toyota, and 15 years ago, we were believers in forming a zero downtime and a zero defect manufacturing operation. And this is actually what drives myself and what drives my organization. But we understand it takes time. And therefore, we have built our company to help manufacturers take the journey towards Industry 4.0. We took the best practices from the automotive industry, from the aerospace industry, from the industrial sector, and we formed an organization to support companies on their digital transformation journey and their Industry 4.0 journey. And as a company, we focus heavily on discrete manufacturing, and we have 3 practices. We have a practice that provides artificial intelligence and predictive analytics solutions. And we are believers that consulting and training is very important to make sure companies understand their Industry 4.0 maturity, their digital maturity, and they can climb the ladder towards success. IoT is a very big field. This is not a new field. This has been around for many years, but maybe under different names, you know. monitoring your airplanes, your jet engines in the sky, monitoring your homes, monitoring your power plants, you know. So IoT is not new, but it has become more and more necessary in a VUCA type of environment, in a VUCA type of world. And I kind of took your picture there, and I fully agree that ERP is the brain that runs your operation. But when you look at a manufacturing operation, unfortunately, the brain is disconnected from the rest of the body parts. And the body parts include your manufacturing execution system, your data acquisition SCADA system, your machine layer, your CNCs, your PLCs, your sensors. So just imagine your brain is not connected to the rest of your body, okay? It is disconnected and it is fragmented. Therefore, Industry 4.0 is a vision, it is an initiative originally born from Germany with the goal of connecting the brain to the rest of the body, connecting the ERP system to the rest of the factory. And in doing so, we always have to keep four things in mind. We have to build a strategy, and we have to understand where we are in our journey. You know, every company has a different level of digital maturity, and you should always start from the right. You need to understand what is your business case driving you, what is the ROI, and once you are clear about your business case, you need to get connected. Connect your machines, capture real-time data, capture real-time metrics from the factory floor, implement analytics, your performance analytics. Are you measuring metrics like overall equipment effectiveness, OEE, in real time today? If not, how can you start to do that? Can you use artificial intelligence and predictive analytics on the factory floor to drive towards a zero downtime, zero defect operation? And last but not least, technology. Think big, start small, and scale fast. How can you take your technology in a pilot of 3 machines and scale it for 10 plants or 10 machines or 100 machines, right? So this is a very quick, high-level IoT into industrial IoT, into Industry 4.0, and the 4 pillars that we should all keep in mind when we are creating and executing our strategy. And it's all about the business case. It's all about the business case. Business case drives adoption. Business drives execution. What is your why? Start with the why. What are you trying to do to improve your business? Do you need to improve uptime? Do you need to reduce downtime? Do you need to reduce your spare parts? Do you need to improve your maintenance scheduling? Do you need to reduce your labor time fixing the machines? How can you move away from a reactive, time-based mode of doing maintenance into a predictive and preventive mode of operation? Okay, that's the vision. But it has to start with the why, okay? And once you start with the why and you understand your metrics, track your metrics, and drive towards a zero downtime, zero defect operation. And here's a simple 2 case studies of 2 companies that were able to do it very successfully. Both companies actually have manufacturing plants in Mexico. Maxion Wheels is in SLP and Chihuahua. Bocar Group is a big group. I think everybody is aware. High pressure die casting based out of Mexico City, 6-7 plants in Mexico. And Maxion understood that they have an issue with uptime in the factory. And they deployed a predictive maintenance solution which helped them very quickly to achieve very strong ROI within months, to predict machine issues before they happen. And they were able to deploy it in 8 to 12 weeks. And the Bocar Group understood that quality is an issue on their casting machines. And they deployed a predictive quality solution using AI, and they were able to compare machine parameters with quality parameters and make very quick predictions on the casting machines within seconds to be able to feed data back to the machine and actually make decisions if you're making a good part or a bad part. So that's my quick introduction, Dr. Villeda. Industry 4.0 is about the business case. It's about starting with why, and it's about executing the right technology at the right place at the right time to deliver your business case. And you have to do it quickly, you have to do it affordably, and you have to see the results within weeks. And if you don't see the results within weeks, something is wrong. It's usually people, process, and technology. It's about a recipe: people, process, and technology. and that will make you very successful. Back to you, Ramiro.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Awali. Yeah, I like your closing slide that where you saw the results. Amazing results, and the scalability was tremendous. Thank you, Dr. Awali. Now let me introduce Mr. Eric Palencia. Eric.
Hello, Ramiro. Thank you very much. I will introduce my company. So let me share my screen. So Intel Automation is a company with more than 20 years in the market. We are located here in San Luis Potosí. It's our main office. We have a branch office in Puebla, which serves mainly to the automotive companies like Volkswagen and Audi. And we have some sales reps across the country. All our customers are in all Mexico and in other countries. We have three business units mainly. One we have called Integra Technology, which is in charge to develop different kind of projects. Integra Supply, we are distributors for different manufacturers like Siemens, Beckhoff, Retail, Festo, among others. And we provide training to our business unit, Integra University, focused in the PLC programming, man-machine interfaces, I/O, Internet of Things, and robotics. We have been developing different kind of solutions from machines to IT solutions. As Mr. Mo said before, we have been implementing this kind of solution with a different name since a long time. Now it's called Industry 4.0. We have worked in different manufacturing industries, mining, utilities, consumer, and we have been involved with different kind of processes that are repetitive among different companies, but with the focus in each process that make them unique. We provide services from the consultancy that in this case for Industry 4.0 is one of the most important things, because sometimes customers would know how to start, from where to start. So it's our job to help them to find the right way into this complex process from the scratch. So we provide different kinds of engineering disciplines, from electrical, mechanical, software, implementation on site, commissioning, and project management. And after that, we provide service and support through different media, from email, remote connection, or on-file service. We have been working along this time with very different brands of manufacturers like Siemens, Rockwell, Beckhoff, and other ones showed in this slide. We involve mainly these different engineering disciplines that initiate with process and mechanical, robotics, control and automation, and obviously information technology, where we are managing the Industry 4.0 solutions. We are able to provide a complete solution from the design to the connection of the machines to the Industry 4.0. Obviously with the manufacturer, assembly, wire, coding, and test. Some examples of the machines we have developed with the traceability and the connection to the ERP systems, in order the customer have the availability to manage all the information that is happening at the level, at the floor level. We have been working with different customers, most of them international companies and some local companies in Mexico. So we have plenty of experience with a lot of them. That's from my side, and we will talk more details on Industry 4.0 in the next minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you. I'm glad that your company provides services all the way from design up to commissioning of the machinery or systems. Thank you. Now let me introduce Mr. Javier Acosta. Javier?
Hi, Mr. Viera. How are you? Thanks for this invitation. I will to share you my screen. Just who don't know, our slogan is Intelligence 4.0, more than automation. And we work a lot on the field. We work a lot with the integration of the process. And we put some intelligence into machines, not just integrate with a regular integrator. We put some intelligence in when we call about artificial intelligence. And our core technology, it's intelligent automation, machine vision. We work a lot with robotic platforms. We work a lot on these years with Industry 4.0 implementations on the field, and with our artificial intelligence for the industry. Also, our trajectory was we was funded on 2000. Then we are certified on ISO 9001 2015, and we have more than 3,000 solutions on the industry. We work in artificial intelligence for good, and our footprint is on US and in Mexico too. We give services for 5 countries: US, Mexico, Brazil, Italy, and China. This is some of our improvements that we are doing. We work on the electronic, medical, automotive, and home appliance industries. And let me show you 2 small videos about what our company do. Integration of all this system, working with robotic platforms or with cobots. That this is an example of one machine that works with full automated systems, and all these automated systems work with systems embedded just to notify to the brain and to act and to have more value to our customer. Also, we're proud to have our own designs like robotic system and vision system integrated with artificial intelligence. We have several patents about our own technology that are generating value to our customers. Let me show you, on these days, we work also in innovation. We know that we are past some problems with the COVID pandemic, and we design and innovate processes that help, like detecting body temperature on production lines. So we design different innovations in the production lines, detecting RFID and then temperature. And then when we do that, we avoid infections in the machines. We have several innovations on the production lines to help our customers to do that connectivity between the machines and with the system, connections between our ERPs, with the SCADA systems, and with the machine. So we work from the beginning until the delivery. And also, these are our customers right now. They trust us. We are glad to work with all these companies in 20 years. So we are generating value to our customers through our service in Industry 4.0. Thank you, Mr. Villeda.
Thank you, Javier. Thank you. I'm glad that you are also selling your technology and products to China. Okay, now let's move on to the second part of the webinar. In this part, we want to ask 3 questions to each of the panelists. And also, let me remind you that you're welcome to ask questions using the Q&A feature of the platform. So with that, let me ask all my colleagues, all the panelists, to please open your cameras and microphones. And the first question will be for Dr. Abuali. The question is this: Industry 4.0 offers a host of technologies with a rich landscape of options. What is your advice in finding the right Industry 4.0 fit? And when should you start implementing IoT and Industry 4.0?
I think simple answer is a 3-letter answer. Now, N-O-W, now. I think it's important wherever you are in your journey to consider thinking big, starting small, create a strategy, act now, act fast, and then you can scale fast and you can become very competitive in the market. The market is becoming extremely competitive. And my feedback is it's important to understand where you are in the digital maturity scale, okay? If my organization is not connected and I don't have a proper ERP system in my factory, it is difficult for me to jump the ladder and start deploying artificial intelligence on the factory floor, you know?
Yes.
So it's a ladder to success, and the ladder starts with where am I today? What is my baseline? And I need to get connected. I need to get real-time data from my factory floor. I need to track metrics in real time. I need to make sure my ERP has a foundation that allows me to deploy Industry 4.0. So there is maturity assessment that must happen, and that will tell the user or the client, where am I? And we usually use a 5-step or a 5-level scale. Level 1 is actually Industry 3.0. I am not connected. I need to first enter Industry 3.0. And then when I do so, I get to a level of what we call visibility. And then I get to transparency. And then I get to predictive capability, where I can start doing AI. And then I get to, you know, self-adapting, self-learning, and self-optimizing systems, right? So please understand and assess where you are today in terms of digital readiness. Yes. And find the right technology to deploy at the right time in a phase approach. Keep in mind, it is a journey, and keep in mind the business case.
Yes, yes. And let me emphasize that the maturity assessment is key. It has to be done to know where each company is. Yes, I agree. I think we have a question. Okay, this is for me. I'll answer it later. Now let me ask the second question to Mr. Palencia. Are Industry 4.0 solutions focused only on large companies? Or is there also the possibility of implementing them in small and medium-sized companies? Eric?
Okay, Ramiro, let me use a little slides so we can understand this. We are currently working with some kind of solutions. We are partnering with Siemens that has this product that's called MindSphere that is used to connect and monitor, analyze, predict, and digitalize and transform the company. In this way, we are able to provide solutions for companies or small companies, medium companies, even the large companies, starting from one machine and then grow and scale to along the factory. Even it's possible to connect different sides of the same company to one solution in the cloud. So in this way, different from years ago, now it's possible for any size, company size, to start implementing Industry 4.0. In the previous years, the companies have to invest a lot of money in the infrastructure, like servers, network, communications, even if they had to connect just one machine. So now it's possible with this kind of solutions to start from one even from one variable or one yes, one quantity or one key process that is required for the company. So in previous years, a lot of them wanted to connect everything, but then they don't know what to do with all of this kind of information and data. So now it's more important to focus which kind of information, which KPI is the most important for the company, and focus on that. So according with that, we are able to provide from the field even the sensor, because sometimes you have not PLC at all. Maybe you need the sensor to monitor temperature, pressure, or whatever, and then connect from the different levels, the PLC or the SCADA, or put the sensor information right into the cloud system. So the answer is now every company can start using Internet 4.0. Thank you.
You touch upon a very interesting, a very important point, Eric, that digital technologies are becoming not only cheaper, but friendlier. It's much easier and much less expensive to use those technologies. Thank you, Eric. So let me have the second question for Dr. Abuali. Once the challenge of prioritizing the most compelling possibilities of Industry 4.0 has been addressed, the next step is justifying the economics business case. How are you calculating the business case in your business?
It's an excellent question, Dr. Villeda, and it's actually the biggest challenge that usually blocks companies from making an investment is the business case. And I show it with a very simple slide, kind of going back. Please define the metric that makes sense for your business. And in manufacturing, usually availability, performance, quality, your OEE metric is a key metric that measures success, okay? In other organizations, in the maintenance organization, the mean time to repair, the mean time between failure, the spare part. So what metric makes sense to your business, right, will dictate the type of technology that you should adopt. And this is just a very simple example from a Mexico-based customer, actually, who was able to deploy predictive analytics on the factory floor and avoid over $250,000 in overhead maintenance and basically what I call fail and fix, moving away from a fail and fix approach into a predictive and preventive approach, helped this customer avoid about $250,000 in savings per year, which associated with an OEE improvement of only 1% to 2%. It might sound like a small number, but actually that small number translates into very high metrics. So what is your success metric? What drives your business? And it might be different from factory to factory. It might be different from machine to machine. So you have to assess this in the beginning and you have to execute it. And then you'll actually be very successful in justifying and scaling your Industry 4.0 deployment.
Dr. Abuali, now let me go with Eric with your second question. Which is the process followed or the implementation of a typical Industry 4.0 solution?
Okay, the first one is to assess where is the maturity level of the company in the Industry 4.0 way. So let me show a little slide again. So most of companies right now are in the process to connect and monitor their processes. So no matter the thing, now it's possible, as Mr. Mu and Javier have said, it's possible for some of them to use artificial intelligence in their systems. So it's very, very important for the companies to know where they are located in this process. So At Integral Automation, we are helping them identify their digital maturity level. So we spend almost 1 day with them trying to identify that. Then we make the conceptual architecture and technical consultancy in order to know more about their processes and their systems. And then we spend 1 day trying to identify and to make an inventory of the different systems they have, PLCs, man-machine interfaces, all the devices they have to deploy the solution. And then a very important step is to help the customer to define the different KPIs for the process in order to achieve the goals they have in their business. Then we connect the gateway that will be the device that will connect most PLCs or floor devices into the cloud. And then we're able to provide different ready-to-go solutions like Energy Manager or OEE Monitor or a dashboard as a service implementation. And then we can provide annual maintenance for the system. So this is the mainly steps we spend and we have for the customer. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you. Back to you, Javier. Could you please mention 2 common mistakes that are made in the industry when trying to implement Industry 4.0?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Villeda. Sorry, everyone. I have a miss communication here with my system, but I'm going to show you a small slide that shows 2 common mistakes that we do on all to be related with connection. If you notice here in my screen, there's like a connectivity between our customer. If you see the customer connected to the cloud, then the cloud is connected to the supplier. Then the supplier is connected to our warehouse. Then all the people is connected to take materials to our production line. Then this production line is connected also to the cloud. This cloud is related like the brain that we're talking about, the brain that Mr. Villeda and Mo talking about. And then all this information go to the cloud, but also it's connected to the delivery. But it's very important this to be connected to the company vision, to the customer, and also with our process. So if we notice all these departments are connected, and also we generate value in data. And also all this data is the catalyst to business growth. But the 2 common mistakes that we see here is that one of that it's we sometimes when we try to implement to do an implementation of our system for 4.0, we see just the elements, not the complete system. So to be an implementation, we need to have the vision or see the complete system. Like this slide. This slide shows you the company vision or process or customer needs, and we need to take the complete picture. What's going on if we disconnect our customer? Like this. What if we disconnect our supplier? What if we disconnect the customer, we don't have the orders on real time? If we disconnect the supplier, we don't have the material on real time, and we cannot give orders to our production line. What if we disconnect our human resources and our talent? So in this case, just we have visualized the elements. I can have a lot of technology in my production line, But if we do that, if we don't have a big impact in our implementation, we need to see all the systems. So the common two errors is when we try to implement system 4.0, we need to visualize the system, not the elements, because the elements, it has short vision. Yep. So we must have a connection like this. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Vieira.
Thank you, Javier. You're right. You're right. We have a question here that I think is for Dr. Abuali. Do you have experience on welding operations collecting data? What kind of data can you get from a welding operation?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's multiple types of welding operations, including spot welding, laser welding. So it depends on the welding operation. But there is surely data you can get from the PLC to support you in predictive analytics of a welding process. You know, temperatures, pressures, current, torque, you know, I would say these probably are the top four. And it depends on the PLC. You can capture them directly or if it's a proprietary or legacy old equipment, we would have to sensorize the equipment.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Now let me go to the third round of questions and let me have the third question. Any technology deployment will inevitably encounter barriers to implementation, such as skepticism and fear of being unable to adapt that cannot be ignored. But Industry 4.0 entails other dimensions of implementation challenges. What challenges have you faced in your organization while implementing Industry 4.0?
Who's the question to, Ramiro? Is a question for me? Sorry?
Yes, yeah, that's a question for you.
Oh, okay. One simple word answer. People. People, people, people. Technology is not the problem. And the process behind it is not the problem. It's unfortunately us. It's people.
Yes.
The culture, the change management, the use of the tool is key to success. You have to empower your employees. You have to have a multidisciplinary organization using the tool. You have to send the right information to the right person at the right time. You cannot paralyze people with too much data. They will shut down. Mm-hmm. So all I have to say is make sure that the technology, process, and people, that recipe makes sense. And you know, you will be as successful as your weak link, your weakest link. If your weakest link is people in a specific factory, unfortunately, you have to take care of that first before implementing Industry 4.0 technology.
Yes, I agree 100% with you. The way we say it is before hardware and or software, first we have to work on software. The mind. Thank you. Well, now let me go to the next question for Eric. Are there different types of Industry 4.0 solutions packaged and ready to go? Or do they need to be developed from scratch? What are the advantages of one or the other?
Okay, sure. There are these two kinds of solutions. We used to have custom-made solutions for different customers in the past. And now we are working with this kind of Lego solutions that allow us to implement different stages and different applications. Let me show again a small example of that. So once the companies are connected or have their PLCs or their sensors connected to the system, now it's important to focus on the applications. So in this solution that is prepackaged, we are able to deploy different solutions, and we have several advantages that are like they are being cloud-based. It's based on the platform as a service. You do not to buy the complete solution and be the owner of the whole solution. You are using like we are doing with a lot of different services like Netflix or others. So you are able to escalate the system from one machine to many machines or to many companies. And this is a very secure tool that is very important in these days, because right now data is the most valuable asset of the companies. So you need to be sure that they are secure. So you can have multi-machine, multi-protocols. You can. This is very common that a lot of companies have different brands of devices at the floor, like Siemens, Rockwell, Backup, among others. So one of the challenges is to interconnect these different systems, because they have several protocols for the communication. So this kind of solutions allows the customer to connect all of them. It's fast to implement, and and we are able to provide a custom-made application that is put above on this kind of solution. And I have some examples of energy efficiency solutions. For example, you can have some dashboards where you can see the consumption of different services like water, electricity, and so on. You can have different kinds of information at the hand. You can visualize the equivalent CO2, for example. You can have the heat map, where you are using the energy that you are wasting, not just in the whole company, but which machine particularly you are using it. You can have very specific information along the time. You can monitor your line with OE, so you can have the information for the whole company, or for a line, or for a machine, or for a substation of this machine. So it could be as granular as you need. So you can have all this kind of information, and all of this is in the cloud, so you can share with people in other locations, and it's very, very flexible. So this is the kind of systems you can implement as a Lego system.
Excellent. Good. Okay. Thank you, Eric. Now the third question for Javier. How fast should we start implementing Industry 4.0 in our industry, and why?
Okay. How fast could be the implementation? Let me share with you guys this slide that to give you more information about the implementation. So I spoke about we need to have a system diagnostic to check health first. We need to have a process stabilization. We need to do or process repeatable, replicable, and reproducible. So also we need to have a process improvement. First, we need to have these three elements are very important. We cannot add technology if we don't have control these three steps first. System diagnostic, process stabilization, and improvement. Because if we try to get data from our process and we have problems, we're gonna just take bad data. And that data, we don't gonna need it in any way. So our fourth step, it's implement of organic technology. What means organic technology? So sometimes we try to push technologies that somebody else are using on Japan or Germany or China, but it's not organic. So organic means it needs to be connected to all our departments. If we see the things like in elements, we're just going to improve a specific part of our system, we must need to have all this connection between all the elements and all the systems. All this, like Mo and Dr. Mo say, it's about people. So if we people add technology, so we're going to have Industry 4.0. It is very important to do this organic. And to do this organic and connected, if you see here in my screen, it's connected right now, the customer with our cloud. The cloud is connected in the brain. Then the brain is connected to the supplier to our warehouse. Then this warehouse is connected to our production line, then to our deliveries. But also we must need to have in mind human resources and the plan. But we cannot do anything if this is not connected to our customer. We can have connected all the machines, but if we don't know the needs of our customer or the vision of our company, we are not see the complete system. So with this, we're gonna have interconnected departments. So, and also the value of data. It's very important to have the value of data. And with the data, it will be the catalyst of our business growth. What if we disconnect, like here, our customer? We don't gonna have the expectation of a customer. If we disconnect the supplier, if we disconnect everything here, so we just gonna have elements. And this is not gonna be a successful connection on Industry 4.0. So we need to hurry up. How fast we need to do this? We need to hurry up because right now we are facing a lot of challenges on the industry. And the industry is changing very fast. So we need to improve our facilities in order to grow, in order to be one of the best companies in the world. So if we delay on this, so we're gonna have a very good expectations. Thank you, Mr. Villeda.
Thank you, Javier. Thank you. There is a question that I will ask to the panel, to the panelists, and you're free to, either one of you who want to answer. The question is kind of general, is how can we engage or interest our young people in artificial intelligence? What can we do to engage them so they learn and they go into AI? Who wants to answer this?
Me, Javier Acosta.
Yeah, right.
So right now we have a program and we work with high school teenagers, and we try to teach them different concepts about this. We have a program that we call Mechatronics Novus, and we generate some of these teenagers to pass through all our departments. And one of that departments is related with the software. And we try to give them tools to improve themselves in knowledge. So we need to start in the high schools. So, and then when they take the college, they're gonna have more vision about this. And they're gonna take the decision if they want to be part of this amazing world of the industry or not.
Okay.
And just a quick comment, Ramiro, I appreciate what Javier is doing. We're doing something similar with universities. So we're teaching an Introduction to Industry 4.0 course for master's level students who have graduated and they're working in industry. And we're also converting it to an industry certification. It's a 7-week course. So I think education is key to be very successful, and you can start very early in high school like Javier is doing, and you should also target the university graduates.
Good, yes.
I would like to add, yes, we have developing a platform for kids we call eBot, that is the use of robotics to learn mathematics. We are not teaching robotics. We are teaching mathematics for kids from kindergarten to high school, using these robots so they can understand how the mathematics work. So because right now all these disciplines are very close, analytics, robotics, artificial intelligence and so on, but we need to start with the foundations of the basics of the mathematics and try to guide these kids into this way.
Correct, correct. We have a question, I think, which maybe summarizes some of the points that you have made. Let me read it to you. And any of you who is willing to answer it, go ahead. I agree that the people is the most important in Industry 4.0. What are the main roles of these people that must be developed? And what are the main competences that they must have? So the question is, I agree that people are the most important thing. And what are the competences that those people must have?
I can start very briefly. It's important to think about a digital steering committee. A digital steering committee is your center of excellence, your COE, and it's a multidisciplinary team. It is not just corporate IT, it is OT people. So you need to think of an IT-OT convergence, a center of excellence, a digital steering committee, and then to decide what type of talent you need to hire to deliver your business case. Do you need automation people? Do you need data scientists? Do you need senior system integrators like Mechatronics or Eric's company? So it's very important to have that strategy.
At what level? Should it be plant level or corporate?
It has to be both. It has to be a corporate representation, and it has to be key representatives from each industry. Sometimes we call them DT, digital transformation leaders. So there will be one per factory, and then they'll be reporting to the corporate environment.
Good, thank you. Any other comments on that, Eric and Javier?
Yes, it is very important to have first the commitment of the director, the vision of the direction. If you don't have that commitment from the direction, we don't have anything. So it is very important to start with that. Because the director cannot delegate the activities of manufacturing 4.0. Sometimes they delegate the activities on, I don't know, maybe to the IT people or the manufacturing plan. No, it's an ado that all the directors must be to do every day. It's like your human resources, your finance. So it's something that you cannot delegate. Yes. The director is going to be on the front on these implementations.
Good.
To complement, yes, it's very important, the decision on the top of the company, but it's in the hands of every employee to develop their own competences. The people need to be open. The people need to be flexible. The people need to be eager to learn every day, because what we know 10 years ago, maybe now is completely obsolete. And we need to be open no matter at what level. Even if we are the operator of the line, we need to be eager to learn more.
Yes, I agree.
Ramiro, let me add something in these questions. Sometimes the manufacturer organization don't have the specifics, points or skills, and we need to start generating that skills, or do some kind of bringing from another supplier from outside, because the best of our industries is the people that they have on the production floor, and sometimes we need to be open to do some subcontract that expertise outside to learn.
Okay. Let me see, I think we have one more question. Okay, great session, thank you. So people are happy. One question I have from the beginning is kind of a general question. Given the fact that we're going to have so much connectivity, do the world has enough infrastructure to provide that connectivity? I think, I don't know, let me just focus on North America. Do we have enough connectivity infrastructure in North America to support all of these digital technologies?
We have more than enough that you can imagine, Ramiro.
Okay.
We are only scratching the surface.
So it's not an issue, right? It's not an issue. Infrastructure is not an issue.
No, it's not an issue. I think the same thing of Dr. Mo.
Okay.
I think it's a justification. I think people need to justify and be educated on why infrastructure and data collection is important. They think continuing to write things on paper is okay. It's a status quo. And they don't think that real-time data is justifiable. And I think completely the opposite. You're
Yes.
improving labor productivity, you're improving accuracy, you're having your operators focus on making parts versus using pen and paper or using IT systems, you know?
Yes.
It's a completely different mindset. It's a paradigm change.
Yes. Yeah. And let me make a final comment. Last year, McKinsey reported that one of the top factories in the world was a Procter & Gamble factory in the Czech Republic. And one of the keys was that the production operators help IT people develop platforms to use. The operators work as programmers to help the company develop the platforms or the application that they were doing in the factory. So the workers became part of the solution digitally, not just manually. Okay, so I thank you for your time. I think we accomplished our objectives. Let me transfer the control to Juan.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Dr. Ramiro.
Thank you.
Appreciate for having me.